Wuhan Tzu Chi volunteers visit flood-affected residents after a series of torrential rain. A senior volunteer in Taiwan dedicates to do recycling and inspire others for over a decade. Welcome to the headlines. I'm Maggie. Thank you for joining us. The floods in China caused a very serious disaster in Huamei County, Hubei Province. 5 waves of heavy rainfall caused landslides, flash floods, and mudslides in Dahe Town and Zhuogang Town. Wuhan Tzu Chi volunteers went there to assess the damage and learn the needs of the affected residents.
After water receded, Dahe Town in Huamei County was filled with submerged furniture on both sides of the street. There was also a serious landslide on the road from the city to the village. The local leader has to guide volunteers to the flooded area. Chen Hongwen, who lives in Liziyuan village, his home was destroyed by the flood. Fortunately, his family escaped safely. Now he can only look for the important documents that were too late to be taken out from the rubble pile.
When I came out, the water was already here. The door was still closed, so I opened the windows to leave. Otherwise, we could not escape. All my dinner and dining utensils were washed into the field. That was my wardrobe before. I've never come across such a serious flood in my past 40 years.
Volunteers' visits reassured the affected residents. They also gave the residents blessing gifts and friendly reminder. In this town, Yuanshan village was also severely affected. Mudslides rushed down from the mountain, destroying most of the houses.
There were 7 buildings altogether before, and now all are swept away. 9 people were buried.
On the same day, another group of volunteers went to Zhuogang Town to assess the damage.
Our town has 45 villages and all are affected. All farmland is submerged in water.
The affected residents used their mobile phones to record the tragic situation of flooding into their homes. Fortunately, they have now evacuated to the resettlement center for temporary accommodation.
In 1998, our Guiba village was also flooded. This year, the water level was even 1.5 meters higher than that in 1998.
The water came very fast. The houses in our place are located in rows, so water comes directly from the big alleys, which became like rivers.
After assessing the damage, volunteers sent the blankets and dry food to the affected residents in the resettlement center and promised to draw up a relief plan as soon as possible before coming again.
In Cambodia, the residents living in rural villages are facing difficulties due to the pandemic. They're not able to go to work, hence their lives became more difficult. Tzu Chi volunteers headed to the villages to distribute aid supplies and promoted a bamboo coin bank to the villages. Many of the villagers were willing to donate the money they have to help others, even though they are facing difficulties.
With a bicycle and a bag of rice, Tzu Chi volunteers head into the village to see the impoverished families.
Before the pandemic, our lives has already been very difficult. We did not have any land to farm, so all of our rice must be bought. It's really difficult.
Due to the pandemic, many of them have lost their jobs. Hence, there's no income and life has gotten even more difficult. These are the impoverished families here in Cambodia. Villagers and volunteers came together as one and formed a human delivering belt, sending 1,500 aid supplies to the local residents.
It's hard to sell the sugar pine leaves now because nobody wants it. I'm very happy to be able to receive this bag of rice.
I'm very happy to receive so much rice. Thank you for providing these aid supplies.
Due to the pandemic, life has been hard for all of us. When we met with the mayor and vice mayor, they asked whether Tzu Chi can provide any assistance, so we decided to come and help.
The thought of helping the needy can also be seen on the local residents. Even though they are poor, yet they are still willing to give of themselves. They are the ones who are spiritually rich.
I'm happy to be able to help others.
This is like everyone working together to help more people with love.
Although the money donated isn't much, they are very happy filling up the coin bank. They are not just filling the coin bank with love, but also with their thankfulness and laughter.
The most simple and touching love has blossomed in this rural village in Cambodia.
To assist the government with COVID prevention, Indonesia has turned many areas into temporary quarantine centers for those needing some additional observation. Next, we visit a quarantine center in Taiwan, which has 127 people staying there for 14 days at a time.
Exercising early in the morning, these people have a new routine in life as they don't need to hurry to work because they are in quarantine. The Tangerine Business Center has been changed into a temporary quarantine center and has about 127 people staying there for observation. Morning exercise is something they look forward to each day as they can step outside, get a little sun while listening to the morning announcements by the healthcare workers.
Jadi pasien di sini ini pertama adalah orang yang sudah benar-benar
The patients here include those who are waiting for their testing results, as well as confirmed cases. They live on different floors according to their testing results. Those who test negative are separate from those who test positive. The length of quarantine is different as well. Patients need to test twice and must show negative on both tests before they can go home.
Masa rawatnya itu berbeda-beda ya, tiap pasien itu tergantung dari pasien boleh keluar dari sini ketika dia sudah ada hasil swab negatif 2 kali.
Currently, there are 53 patients under observation and will be in quarantine for 14 days. Everyone has their own room with full amenities. Each person will undergo swab testing twice, and if both times the results return back as negative, after 14 days they can go home.
Awalnya saya ikut rapid test.
In the beginning, I tested negative and needed 1 week of quarantine. I've retested and it's still negative, so I can go home now.
Seminggu di tes swab pertama negatif, tes swab kedua negatif juga. Seminggu salah satu pulang.
Besides the government-contracted quarantine centers to adapt to changes in business practice, many hotels in Jakarta are also providing quarantine services.
During the pandemic, Tzu Chi volunteers have worked harder to promote vegetarianism. They've cooperated with community temples to offer vegetarian lunch boxes to the neighborhood. In Taipei Zhongzhen District, the volunteers have been making vegetarian dishes at Shipu Temple to invite the public to join this healthy campaign. Preparing fruit ingredients, washing and cutting the veggies, the kitchen in Shipu Temple is busy in the morning since Tzu Chi volunteers are promoting vegetarian diets with different community temples.
Vegetarian diet is really good for the body. My husband had colorectal cancer, so I changed his diet into vegetarian, and now his health has improved. So I encourage everyone to eat vegetarian food because it's beneficial to our health.
When we were promoting the vegetarian diet, we worked with the temple to interact with nearby stores or fire stations and police offices. The weekly vegetarian day is to inspire changing their perceptions of vegetarian diets.
Over 400 lunch boxes were boxed and delivered personally by Dharma Master Tzu Chi and Tzu Chi volunteers. The Dharma Master hoped to also promote compassion to humankind through police officers.
Instead of let go of life to do good deeds, we should just not kill any living beings, so we can inspire the public's compassion.
Vegetarian diet is very good for our body and very helpful to our health. We're especially thankful that today we got the chance to receive these lunch boxes from the master and volunteers. Thank you very much.
Diminishing the meat consumption and adapting a healthier diet have gradually become a trend. Tzu Chi volunteers invite everyone to join this vegetarian campaign for all mankind. To help stateless people solve their dilemmas in life, Tzu Chi volunteers in Sabah hosted an online charity sale of vegetarian food to raise funds for the stateless, while promoting vegetarianism at the same time, so the general public can taste delicious vegetarian food while doing good deeds.
Stir-frying glutinous rice skillfully and preparing the fillings, Tzu Chi volunteers in Sabah are making vegetarian zongzi for raising funds. Under the novel coronavirus epidemic, stateless people in Sabah are affected and lost their source of income. Volunteers sell vegetarian zongzi for charity, mobilizing love from society.
Many of our colleagues in our office received a lot of suffering people reporting that they have no rice and milk formula. That's why we want to raise funds for them.
Unlike in the past, volunteers promoted the charity sale online, which was well received unexpectedly.
We have received 599 orders. This is the first batch. With everyone's cooperation, it can be done quickly.
Yes, this is Tzu Chi charity sale. We have vegetarian zongzi with nongyang flavor and alkaline zongzi with red bean fillings. Which one would you like? After we sent out messages, I continued to receive calls almost every few seconds to ask about the charity sale.
Apart from vegetarian zongzi, volunteers also sell handmade vegetarian buns. They hope to promote vegetarianism through the charity sale.
This is a charity sale for vegetarian food, as we need to promote vegetarianism, so we take this opportunity to encourage people to try meatless food.
I started to be a vegetarian from 2017 until now. I keep eating vegetarian food. I bought vegetarian rendang, which contains rendang and zongzi. I can help others while eating.
From preparing the charity sale to the ongoing process, volunteers work together to get it done. The general public could enjoy delicious vegetarian food while doing good deeds with love.
An 84-year-old recycling volunteer Xie Jingzi has been doing this work for more than 10 years. She chose to do recycling after 9 o'clock in the evening to leave more materials for the impoverished who rely upon recycling for a living. Despite working without any income, she has inspired many people to care for the humanity and the earth.
老公，杨钱，我要出去捡回收哦，你要保佑我哈，我们要。 还有电视台的哈，你要多多保佑哈。
For 12 years, every time before going out, Xie Jingzi did not forget to say hello to her deceased husband.
Every day I go out to do recycling, I'll tell him that I'm going out to collect recycling. And when I come back, I report to him that I'm back home.
Xie Jingzi is 84 years old. After her husband died, she lived alone in Xindian. Recycling has become the main focus of her life. Not long ago, she had an operation due to sciatica, but she still reported on time to the recycling station.
One relative was doing Tzu Chi at that time. She said, "Auntie, how do you know to pick up recyclables?" I said, "No, I just feel that it's a waste to see them being thrown away." She told me that I can give it to Tzu Chi.
Upholding their original intentions, Tzu Chi volunteers promote recycling at the grassroots level and have helped push Taiwan's environmental miracle to receive international acclaim. The past few years, there have been rumors that Tzu Chi's recycling is competing with poor people who support themselves by recycling.
I personally have a different view. That is, all of this recycling amount can simply be supported by our present system and those individuals who rely upon recycling for a living. It is simply too much for them. They simply cannot manage such a large amount of recycling.
Some people say that Tzu Chi is the largest recycler in Taiwan and takes over the most of the domestic recycling volume. Is this really the case?
到去年呢，我们整个资源回收的总重的这个重量呢
As of last year, our total resource recovery in terms of total weight is about 81.83 million kilograms. Such a weight actually accounts for about 3% of the total resource recovery in Taiwan.
占整个台湾的回收量呢比例大概3% 左右。
The figure of 3% means that many groups are actually working together. In fact, the domestic resource recycling system includes government cleaning teams, private individuals, and recycling companies who finally give these resources to reprocessing factories that manufacture them into raw materials. No matter what kind of pipeline exists, there is already an independent economic model at work. Although recycling is a hard way to make a living, it is definitely not a cure for poverty.
Many people who rely on collecting recycling are actually very old, but you can see that they are making a living. And then they often have a small cart, piled up high, and one person can see the road ahead while pushing it. So we think, that is to say, we could simply be better off taking care of them.
For those that rely on recycling for a living, in fact, the Environmental Protection Administration has also launched a resource recovery care plan. Even if it is not a profitable recycling item, it will be acquired at a guaranteed price.
Basically, they can do this resource recycling work that others don't want, and they can collect it, and if it does not sell well in the market, will guarantee a price that is higher than the market. This helps guarantee a collection fee for those who live on recycling.
At midnight, even though she has mobility problems, she crosses the street, and Xie Jingzi picks up garbage from the public toilet in the parking lot and does so much work but never keeps the profit for herself. Some people even laugh at her and say she is stupid.
邻居都笑我嘛。
The neighbors laugh at me. You are so stupid. You are not very rich yourself. Why don't you sell it? Why should you give Tzu Chi? I said that Tzu Chi is saving people, but you also need saving. Why doesn't Tzu Chi come to save you? I said that I was okay.
我说我还好，还可以过。
Even if she does not have enough, Xie Jingzi never thought about selling recycling for her own personal living expenses. She also understands that many people suffer in life.
Because the current situation of some is relatively bad. Some people pick up recycling to live. So why do I pick up at night? That is to allow people to pick up recycling in the daytime.
10 years ago, she formed a strong bond with Tzu Chi. Xie Jingzi was agile from the beginning, and now she has to wear waist support when she goes out. The recycling time has also been reduced from midnight to dawn to now only 1 to 2 hours a day. Despite her physical discomfort, she never thought of giving up.
At that time, I was still young and I could walk. You can't walk like you do now. You told me I had to walk a long way and couldn't do it, but now I take a cane.
When she was a child, her family was poor, and Xie Jingzi had to go to a construction site to pick up bricks when she was a teenager. In the end, Xie Jingzi's commitment to recycling has truly impressed many people.
Unlike before, Madam Tzu Chi volunteers have set a recycling point at a bank instead of schools for the very first time. They hope to recycle and reuse the office stationery so they could turn resources into gold. Join them.
3, 2, 1.
Madam Tzu Chi's 15th recycling point has officially launched. This is also their first time to set a green point at a bank.
Kita akan mensosialisasikan kepada semua segenap karyawan.
We promoted to our colleagues and customers that they can place their recyclable items here, and Tzu Chi volunteers will collect them.
Di sini sehingga bisa nanti diambil oleh tim Tzu Chi.
To plant the roots of recycling concepts in people's minds, volunteers taught from the very beginning of the environmental crisis to the principle of sorting garbage.
Teman-teman dari BCA sangat bersemangat.
Our colleagues are very active because everyone has learned to sort garbage and diminish the garbage amount so we can make our environment more beautiful and clean.
Bisa membantu masyarakat agar bumi ini menjadi lebih asri dan lebih bersih.
Barang-barang recycle dari kertas-kertas yang tidak terpakai.
We've discovered that the bank can be more efficient in recycling than schools because there are many disposable paper, staple pins, and plastic bags. So we can have many recycled items, which are all gold to us.
Sumber dari sampah ini adalah emas ya buat Tzu Chi.
The bank stationery can be recycled and reused again. everyone has learned that environmental protection is as important as economics. Taiwan Central District Tima members hosted a medical outreach in the mountainous area of Taichung Xinshe every month. The residents there are mostly seniors who are attached by Tima members' long-term care.
Going up the winding mountain path, Tima members arrive at Grandma Shunan's home. Glucose control is important, otherwise the wound will not heal easily. In the mountainous area of Xinshe, most residents are seniors. This grandpa in his 90s had a stroke many years ago. He is particularly happy to see the medical personnel.
The weather is very hot and you drink too little water, so the blood vessels are clogged.
You need to continue to take medication. We will definitely come visit you again. Otherwise, we will worry about you.
Many of them have sore joints. Some of them even had surgery before, yet they still feel pain.
The schedule of the free clinic is very packed. Tima members and volunteers always hope to care for more people in need.
Thank you very much. We will come again next month. Thank you so much.
Tima members are reluctant to say goodbye and promise to come again. It's their commitments and responsibilities.
When should children quit wearing diapers? Many elders think they should quit after just 1 year of age. This is actually a myth passed down from generation to generation that can actually harm a child. Today we talked to a pediatrician to learn more.
Many elders believe that the sooner a child quits wearing a diaper, the better.
Some children quit wearing diapers when they are about 1 year old. Ours is still wearing a diaper. It's not good.
This little boy, surnamed Sen, continues to wear diapers at the age of 2 years and 9 months. Grandma had to train him to sit on the toilet and relieve himself.
What age should a child quit diapers? The older generation thinks that the sooner the better. But now young people don't think they need to rush to do this. Who is right and who is wrong?
The urinary system is in a continual state of development, but in fact, the complete state of development occurs at an average age of about 3 years old.
The doctor suggested that toilet training is better after 1.5 to 2 years old. But in fact, this child, at the age of 1 year and 10 months, still has many difficulties in the toilet training process.
He doesn't like wearing a diaper, but when he urinates in his pants, he won't say anything.
Stress and pressure will cause urination and bowel movements accidents. Once they make a mess in their pants, they may feel embarrassed or worried about being scolded. In fact, it could impact them emotionally.
Each child has a different timetable for maturity, with the best conclusion amongst experts is that stopping the use of diapers should be something that is natural and not forced.
Now that the pandemic is slowing down in Taiwan, Kaohsiung Jingziho has hosted the first stem cell registry event and many of the public joined actively. Take a look and see you next time.